All right, my name is Sharon Duffy. I am the Research Services Librarian, and I'm presenting today with Rowan Mary, our Public Services Librarian. And we are, the title of our presentation today is New User Interface for CINAHL and Other EBSCO Databases. Here's what's changed. So we're going to talk about these changes. All right, so here's an outline. First, I'm going to talk about what EBSCO host databases are and which ones are impacted by this new platform. I'm going to talk about the need to create a MyEBSCO account. Then I'm going to cover basic searching, viewing results, viewing your records. There's some new tools on the My Dashboard. And then Rowan is going to cover advanced searching in CINAHL, including how to use the filters, the search modes, how to access the CINAHL search subject headings, combining your search terms, managing your results, and exporting a full search set to a citation manager. So we have a very full class. It's probably going to be about 40 minutes. And we will, Chandler's going to share the slides because we're really not going to use our slides during this presentation. They are more available as a reference. So those are available and they will be posted with the link to the presentation for those viewing afterwards. Okay, so first, what is the EBSCO host user interface? So this is the platform from EBSCO, which is our vendor that's used to access databases such as CINAHL, SocINDEX, APA PsycInfo, Academic Search Complete, our ebooks that are hosted by EBSCO, and all other EBSCO content. We have, I believe there's 115 different databases in this platform that will be accessed with this new tool. So it's important to stress that the contents of the databases and the content itself is unchanged. All that's changing is how it looks and feels when we're going into it now. It's been modernized. It looks very similar to the EBSCO Discovery Search tool, which is available on the library homepage. So it's very similar to that. If you've ever used that, then this is going to look very familiar. It meets all modern accessibility guidelines, and it's more optimized for different types of devices. So those were some of the reasons for the change. So I'm going to show how to access it. Again, I have slides and they're available, but we're not going to really do it. It's all going to be a live demo from here. Let's get to the database. Okay, so when you're on the library homepage and you go to databases, I can back up one step here, maybe. Let's go to library webpage. Go to databases and go to E for EBSCO. And then go to EBSCO host. This will take you to this page. Okay. So you can access CINAHL directly from here. There's other ways to access CINAHL as well, other that are shortcuts. But I'm going to search on the link for all databases just to go in kind of through that door. The example I'm going to do today, I am not going to search 115 databases. That is one of the features of EBSCO host. But you're going to get a very wild result search if you do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to search two databases. So I'm going to unselect all of them. Today I'm going to search APA PsycInfo and SocINDEX, which are two of the more popular ones that are not CINAHL. And then I go down here and I click select. Okay. So now it tells me when I'm searching. When Rowan's searching in CINAHL, he'll have his. I want to start here at the top with the My EBSCO account. One change that they've made is more of the features, even to use these tools on the side, require an EBSCO account. So you do have to have one. It's a free account. It's easy to create. If you have a previous EBSCO account from the other platform, that same account is usable. If you didn't, then this is your time to create it. So I'm going to sign in. Okay. All right, so I am going to do a basic search. You can see it's very, user-friendly. You can search in, type in a subject, if you have a title, if you have a citation that you want to copy and paste. You can approach with a lot of different things in basic search. I am going to start typing my topic, which is going to be anxiety in health science student. And you can see it will populate with some suggestions. A lot of times it'll give you some synonyms. Those are some of the helpful features of this platform. But we're going to do health science students. And I'm just going to hit enter, or you can hit the magnifying glass to execute the search. Okay, so I have some results. So this is our results page. A few things I want to point out, again, kind of starting at the top. There's some filters here. Some quick ones are the time for all time, or I could do the past 10 years, just to make it a little smaller set. I can specify and only get peer reviewed. There's different, if I'm only interested in journals or I want to do dissertations, there's lots of options to quick filter by your source type. There's also additional filters here. Again, some of the more popular ones are here at the top. We generally recommend not choosing any of the full text options because we have access to many things beyond the library. We have subscriptions, we have interlibrary loans, so we generally let that stay open. There's subject headings that could be limited. There's language, there's age, all kinds of filters that are available here. So just so you can find those. All right. The other things I want to show is how to access an article. So down here, below the article, you see this box, access options. So if you're ever come to our library presentations, you know we're big fans of the browser extension libkey Nomad. It does not integrate with this platform. So you're not seeing those fun, purple, easy links, but we do have this. So this is your best choice where it says quick for available full text. This particular article is also giving me a direct PDF or an online full text. Generally, though, if you don't see those options, this is your best bet because this takes you through our libkey tool and you would see this screen, which is a good screen to see. This means that libkey has connected us and I can either download or link from here. This particular article also had a direct link, but different ones will have different options. This one had more information. I really don't know why. But check on that box for options. You won't see the libkey Nomad feature. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about was how to view your results. The maximum you can view on a screen is 50. You can view more than 50, you just have to scroll down and then see additional, the next 50, the next 50, etc. So you can view more on the screen. And then your only options for sorting are by relevance, which is the algorithm that pushes what they think I'm most interested in, or by date, newest to oldest. Those are my only options. And then a couple other actions. I can save my search only if I'm logged in with a EBSCO account. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So when we go to the toolbar, we see that. It's going to ask me some questions. I can name it. Why did it?
It brought you back to all the pages and logged them.
All right, hold on. Well, I didn't realize that when I logged in, it took me back to all databases. So let me change that real quick. Otherwise, we're going to have way too many search results. And SocINDEX. Okay, I wonder why I had so many results. Okay, all right, so but it just reran my search for me. So that's good. And then, so I can save my search and also I can create an alert. So that means it would rerun this search. I can run it daily, weekly, monthly. So this is good if you want to keep up with a topic. You can set it up and then it'll send you email. So I can go ahead and do that. And again, I'll turn that on so that later maybe I can turn it on. We can see it when I go to that toolbar. Okay. Okay, so now let's look at a record. And the other couple other things it tells you up here, it checks marks that it's a peer review, tells me it's from a journal. And also in here, it tells me which of my databases I got it from. So if you're searching multiple databases, you will see that information on the front page. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this article. Again, you're going to see the exact same information that you used to see. It just maybe is presented a little differently. We have our title, our authors, the citation, the source. Down here is the abstract. This one is in 2 languages. It gives me the subject headings. Just all the same kind of metadata that was available before. You just have to scroll to see it. And then there's a direct link to the DOI. Up here, I want to talk about these little tools. If I want to save this search or sorry, save this article, this is similar into PubMed. If you ever use the clipboard, you're just kind of scrolling through. You're like, oh, that one looks interesting. I want to kind of set it aside, look at it later. That's kind of a quick save. I can view the citation. So this is a handy feature. If I want to, maybe I want the APA style, I can copy it to a clipboard, paste it into a document. Also, I have the export feature. So I can direct export to EasyBib, RefWorks, or EndNote. I can also download the RIS for something like Covenant or any other reference manager. So this is for a single citation. Rowan's going to cover how it looks when you're doing a batch. So I'm just doing a single citation. So that's that tool. I can add this to a project. So this is a good idea if you're working on a project and you want to collect all your things into one place. I can create a new project. We'll call this a class. I can give myself a due date, some other notes, and then I can create my project folder. Let's see, I can share this externally, usually via email. I can email it to myself or colleagues like, hey, look at this article. It will not email the PDF or the full text. What it's going to email is this record from the database, but they'll find out about it and should be able to, if the DOI is there, should be able to link to it. I can also just create a link and share that. And then I can download, which again is going to be this record from the database. It's not the article in various formats. It's just the metadata. Okay, so I think that's everything I needed to show on this page. Then the other thing I want to talk about before handing it over to Rowan is these tools on the side. So here's my project folder. Again, you have to have the My EBSCO account to access this feature. So there's my project. I have my one record. If I saved a search in here, it would also save it in here. So this is a good thing about a project folder. It's very encompassing. It's both your records and your searches in one place. That is an improvement over the previous where it was all separate. If you had pre-existing folders from the old platform, CINAHL or other databases, and you had saved searches, what they offered for us is to get a report of your previous folders. You can click on this, get a spreadsheet with all your content. So they're not live links. It's not like it's your whole folder back in here in the new platform. It is a spreadsheet of the contents of your folders. If you wanted them live and active in this platform, you would have to rerun your search, which I will talk about saved searches in a moment. So, but you at least can get access to what you had there and put it into your new folders. Under save, this is again kind of just my clipboard. If I saved an article, maybe I went through and found 10 articles, this is where I would review them by the oldest or the newest that I put it in there. If I want to, I can move it to a project. I have share options, get the citation. If I want to decide I don't want this, all I have to do to get rid of it is click on unsave and it disappears. Same thing for saved searches. I have previous searches that carried over. So if you had searches saved on the old platform, those did carry over exactly as they were, and you can rerun them. Again, the folders with your citations are just a spreadsheet. This is a live search. You can go back and redo it. Okay, then recent activity. This is an important one because this is where you'll find your search history. So when you click on here, you'll see in this session, I have done 2 searches and it tells me my number of results down here and a few tags about my search. Rowan will talk a little bit more about those. But if I wanted to go back and see my search results or see what I previously searched, go to recent activity. I can also look at any records I previously viewed in this session. So this is just for the current session. If I wanted to save this or move it somewhere, I could do that from here, but just within the session, this is where I would view that. We don't really use holds and checkouts. Alerts is where I did save that search alert. So if I wanted to make a change to it or do something, this is where I would access it. Okay. And then down here, a few new tools, new search. This will take me back to the front screen. And if I just want to clear the deck, start again, this is the place I would do that. And then this takes the publication finder actually is a link to our A to Z ebooks and e-journals list. We also have this link through our homepage. It's an EBSCO product, so that's why it's also available here. And then there is help button. If you have questions or issues with using the platform, there are tutorials here about how to use it, and both in video and slideshows like PowerPoints are available there. Okay, and then we're going to talk a little bit about those, but then these are just quick links to outside sources, PubMed, ClinicalKey, Embase, and then also the library's research guides or Lib guides. These are live links that will take you to places outside of this EBSCO platform. Okay, I think that's all I was going to cover, and now Rowan is going to do advanced search.
All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to log out of Sharon's account and log into mine just because we have different stuff saved. And then also, once I've done that, I will show you how to switch between databases. So note. And sign in. Just cross that was correct. Okay. So you can see it did the same thing to me that it did to Sharon earlier. So if that's a concern, you may want to keep an eye out for that. If you go in through probably the CINAHL link, it's going to default to just having CINAHL selected. But if you have gone in through like EBSCO generally, then it is going to default to all databases, and it will reselect that when you log out or log in. So, but just like before, to switch, just, unselect the ones you don't want and select the ones you do want. So I'm going to choose CINAHL Ultimate. Most of this information that I'm sharing is going to apply to all of the new databases, all of the EBSCO databases broadly. I am just focusing on CINAHL because there is some stuff that is CINAHL specific, and because it is probably the most popular of our EBSCO, our large EBSCO databases. So just be aware that that's my focus. A lot of this will be the same for all of them, though. So I am going to start just by showing you to get to the advanced search. It is just right here above the basic search bar. If you click that, if you have used CINAHL extensively in the past and have used the advanced search, this will look pretty familiar to you. This is the same set of search bars with your Boolean operators, and you have this little add fields thing, so you can add as many here as you want. You can put your terms in separate bars. You can select your field tags here. All of that is pretty similar to the way it was in the previous iterations of the product. The big difference, though, is that now, instead of having that big search options box below your search, we now have these 4 tabs here. Filters is a list of all of basically your filtering options. The first chunk is just a whole bunch of text checkboxes, which are, at first glance, not terribly organized. It does have a lot of different categories of things. My best guess is that these are just the most popular things. They are at least somewhat grouped according to, like pre-CINAHL or only pre-CINAHL, exclude Medline, kind of sources of articles, types of things, anything about nurse authorship, which are commonly used filters. But then if you scroll down, you get into a somewhat more organized filter list where you've got your publication date filters. You can do, specific authors or publications. And then we've got like our clinical query filters, our journal subset filters. So if you're looking for like that core nursing journal subset, that's there. Geographic subsets, practice location, language, publication types, all of these, and then some patient things as well. You can also even sort by number, filter by number of pages is what I'm trying to say. Our search options, though, this is where you kind of are telling the database how to search as a default. These search modes, basically, if you enter 2 terms with no additional info, this is going to tell you kind of the default relationship between these 2 terms. So if I do proximity search and I do knee surgery with no proximity indicators, no additional information, no additional terms at all, and I just do this, and maybe I'm going to select title and abstract just for just to make it a slightly smaller batch of results. And I search. This is going to assume that I want knee and then surgery in proximity to each other. It is doing, because I didn't do any quotes or anything, it is doing a little bit of smarter than it used to be, where it is adding in surgery versus surgeries. It's kind of assuming that what I would have once done a wildcard operator for, it is making that assumption for me. But you can see all of these do have knee surgery or knee surgeries immediately after each other. The default sort is by relevance. So it is possible that if I went further down, I would run into something that got a little weirder, but it's still going to be knee and then surgery in the title or abstract. I think it is giving me stuff that has it in the title first as being most relevant. But anyway, back to my advanced search here. If I were to change that search option from proximity to all of my search terms, that is going to assume that I want the Boolean operator and. So it is finding things that include both knee and surgery. And you can see my my result output has grown a lot just by doing that. And if memory serves, oh, maybe not. Yeah, here we go. We get one where we've got knee in the title and then surgery in the abstract somewhere. So we are getting things where it's including these terms, both terms, but it doesn't care about the proximity of them to each other anymore. If I go this one, this is Boolean, find any of my search terms is Boolean or. This is all the same as it was in the previous one. It's just kind of a little bit more visible as things you can select. And as you can see, this took me from 16,000 results to 390-ish thousand results. So those are all features that were there before. Of course, you can still manually type in your Boolean operators. You can still manually type in your proximity indicators. The search default here is find all. So if you say nothing else, and it's going to assume and, but you can, if you're familiar with searching and you're familiar with putting in your own field tags and your own Boolean operators and your own proximity indicators, that's all still going to work the same way it did. So if you have a search from a systematic review you did 5 years ago that's formatted for CINAHL, you can still copy and paste that in here. It's going to run basically the same way it always did. This smart text searching, this is not actually a new feature, but it is not one that I had used extensively before. So I am actually going to grab an article real quick from my saved history here. But I did want to talk about that search mode just because I haven't really made much use of it, but having played with it for this presentation, I have kind of thought about it. I'm like, oh, I could actually see myself using that a bit more in the future. So I decided I would show it to y'all at this moment. So go back to new search and advanced search, and I'm going to choose smart text searching, and I'm going to paste in the entire abstract from an article that I found and hit search. And what this search mode is going to do is it is going to take that abstract and it is going to look through it and pull out the subject terms that it thinks are the most important, and then it's going to run that search based on those terms. So the first article I find, ideally, should be the article that belongs with that abstract. But you can see I've got 105,000 other articles because it is pulling, and you can see it here highlighted or bolded, that is pulling up diabetes, youth, rising, comfort, all of these different things. So school professionals, diabetes. So it's basically going to pull as many articles as it can find about like children with diabetes in the school context, basically. So that's just kind of an interesting feature that I hadn't really made great use of before, but it exists. Play with it if you like. it's probably a really good path to more articles, especially if you're at the very beginning of a search and you maybe have one thing that you know of that is a good one. This natural language search, though, this is the new one. This is the one that did not exist before, because it involves AI. So that's part of why it is kind of a new one. But this allows you basically to enter a search in more, quote, natural language, the way you would talk, the way you would ask Siri to search for something for you. Maybe the way you would ask ChatGPT to search for something for you. If you have a Pico question, this could be a good time to just drop in your full Pico question. I do have a saved here because I can never think of a topic when I have it. So I'm just gonna copy paste that. Not that, new search. And you can also do this from the basic search by just clicking the slider for natural language search. This one's in both advanced search and basic, so it's there as a search option, a search mode as well. And if you drop that question in and search, it's kind of similar to what it did with the big text searching. What was that called? Smart text searching, where it is taking your question and it is kind of translating that into different terms. So, and again, it is trying to be at least somewhat transparent, where it's showing you by bolding the subject terms that it is kind of collecting. So again, this could be a useful way to begin your searching, to kind of just put in your question, see what terms it's pulling out, and then add those, if you're doing a systematic review, to something like a big systematic search strategy. The other thing under this search options tab is our expanders. We have apply related words, also search within full text, and apply equivalent subjects. That apply equivalent subjects is selected by default, and that's probably why it was searching surgery or surgeries for me earlier. If you want to change that, you can do it here. The default on both of them is the find all, so Boolean and then the apply equivalent subjects expander. This publications list, this is pretty straightforward. This is just the list of publications covered by CINAHL Ultimate. So you can search there. I won't go over that in depth because it's relatively self-explanatory. The CINAHL headings, though, this is another thing that is pretty different from the previous version of CINAHL. Before, you had to open your CINAHL subject headings on a whole separate screen. Now you can open them just below your search boxes here, which I actually really, really like, because it was kind of a pain to have to juggle tabs and go back and forth. So if we do, let's do patient positioning. And that happens to actually be a CINAHL subject heading. If it wasn't something that was a CINAHL subject heading, like as I phrased it, it would give me suggestions based on either kind of cross-referenced terms or nearby terms. But you see patient positioning, since it is a term, that is my first option. And I have a couple of options here where I have a couple of checkboxes where I can either choose it as a major concept, which means it's going to limit to articles where this is the primary focus of the article, as opposed to just something with that subject heading maybe a little further down in the list. Basically, it's applying the field tag of MM, if you're very familiar with your CINAHL field tags, which is exact major subject heading. If you don't select that, it'll default to MH, which is just word in subject head, or just, what is that? Yeah, exact subject heading, but not major subject heading. I do also, for some of these terms, you'll see some of them have explode as an option, some of them don't. Explode means that there are narrower terms below it. And so if I choose explode, it will search this term and all of the subterms. If I make any selections here, whether I check this box or the explode box, it's going to open up this menu of subheadings that I can pick from. This little arrow on the box on the side expands and collapses that. If I click on the term itself, again, here I've got a list of related headings. I've got a little overview of this, a little description of the term and what it means, and like, alternate suggestions. So like, if you're talking specifically about childbirth, use birthing positions instead. But if I scroll way down here, I see the whole hierarchy of terms, which probably because I'm a library nerd, I really like to be able to see. But if I scroll down, I do wish there was a way to minimize that, but maybe it'll come. Who knows? I get patient positioning and I can see all my narrower terms. So these are the terms that would be added if I chose to explode. But since a lot of these are like birthing positions and, breastfeeding positions and things like that, if I'm searching for something that is specifically about intubation position or something like that for surgery, I probably don't want to explode. I don't want birthing positions in that context, but maybe I want head down tilt. Again, if I select anything, it is going to open those subheadings. I maybe want kneaded chest. Maybe I want prone. Maybe I want supine. I don't know. I'm just going to select some of these here. And then if I've selected some terms, maybe I also add some subheadings. I don't know, contraindications for supine position. I don't know. We'll see if we get anything. If I go back up to the top, I have my Boolean operator that I can choose here. I'm going to choose or because I'm treating these as synonyms. And then I say add to search. And that is going to fill all of those in. It's going to format them for me. It's going to add my Boolean operators and my field tags. So if I did want to change it, I could do that here as well. And then I can just click search. And here we get our results. So that is, in addition to just typing in your terms, that is another way to get, options into your text into your search. Okay, that is that. Okay. In my recent activity. Okay, so we covered ways to combine terms by either adding them all to your search, by manually typing them in, all of that. You can also combine search terms from your existing searches. If you've used CINAHL before, you will remember this feature. You can also do this in PubMed, where you can take searches that you've run and then combine them. How you do that is a bit different in the new version of CINAHL. So to do it, you go to recent activity, and this will show your search history. So, well, actually, I think I saved these. Let me just run a couple of my saved searches real quick so that they're in my search history. Yes. Okay. Now, in my recent activity, I have a search about oxygen saturation, and I have a search about patient positioning. So if I want to combine those two concepts and see what articles talk about the impact of patient positioning on oxygenation during, I can take those two, use my checkboxes, and then up at the top, this little thing that's like a little confluence of rivers here, if you mouse over it, it'll say combine search. Click that, and then choose your Boolean operator. In this case, I want to find terms from both concepts, so I'm going to choose my Boolean and.
Well, I think you still have.
Oh, yeah. Those of you who've used CINAHL before will know that it not clearing your search from your search bar is something that has been an angst for a number of years in CINAHL, and unfortunately has not changed with the new one. So, but if you combine search with and, you'll see up here in your search box, it has your search 11 and search 9. And then we just click our magnifying glass to run it. And here we have our results, which should be, things about postural interventions for oxygenation or impact of oxygenation. So we've got things about like sleep apnea. We've got oxygen desaturation and postoperative cognitive effects. Anyway, you can see all that. So now, as Sharon mentioned, there are a couple of different ways to save results. You can save things to projects. You can save searches. You can save things to your saved. As Sharon said, we overall recommend using projects rather than save because your saved results are just a huge list of everything you have saved with no order, no folders, nothing to organize it. And there is no bulk delete function in saved. So you probably want to kind of use that minimally, put stuff in there and then move it out when you're done with it, and keep on top of that. But for adding things to projects, as Sharon said, you can adjust how many results show on a page up to 50. And you can select batch results. You can select multiple things by just clicking the check boxes here. You can also, up at the top, you can select all at once. You'll notice when you do that, it's going to give you a little message that only 50 items can be selected at a time. And this does seem to be a pretty EBSCO, it's basically only gonna it's only going to let you select 50 of anything at a time. You can have more than 50 in a project. You can have more than 50 in your saved folder, but you can only select 50. So like I can deselect some, I guess. I don't know why it's giving me this message, but okay. So I've got 50. I could add all of these to a project, and then I could go back page down and add 50 more to a project. So it will let you save more than 50 in a project. It just will only let you select 50 at once. Now, anyone who has done a systematic review will know that that's not going to cut it. If you are trying to export all of the results of a search into Covidence so that you can do your title abstract screening or whatever, you want to be able to export this entire search result set. I've only got 343, but it would not be uncommon to have a couple of thousand. You do not want to have to go page by page with 50 results to do this, obviously. So if you select this checkbox and this down arrow, you'll see you get some different options. I can do all on this page. I can select 1 through 50. I can deselect all. Importantly, I can export my results up to 25,000, which should be enough for most things you need. If you choose that one, though, unfortunately, it is not just a direct download link or anything. It is going to email you a download link, which I believe will also expire eventually. So you don't want to let it sit too long or you'll have to do it again. But all you do, you enter your email address. If you have any additional recipients, maybe you want to send it to everyone on your team, who knows? And then you can select a format. RIS and XML are both good ones for like importing to a variety of topics, a variety of tools like EndNote or Covidence or whatever you're using. And then just hit send, and then it'll send you an email. That email will not just be an attachment, it will be a link to go to download it. And I did one yesterday, so I have used 2 of my 20 attempts. So apparently you are limited to 20 exports a day. So if you're doing a big project, maybe keep that in mind and try to do stuff in as big a bulk as you can. And then I was also just going to do real quick a bulk how to do oh, I guess you kind of really did this as well. Yeah, you can also do a bulk add to citation manager as well with up to 50. So if you have multiple selected, you'll see it'll be journal article plus 49 more. We can export all of those in an RIS format. So again, up to 50, you can do a direct download through CINAHL. More than that, you've got to have it email you the link. So, and I think that's it.
Slide.
Yes. As you can see, we have very detailed slides that we did not use because we were showing it to you live, but okay. So this is our thank you slide. We, of course, have a survey we would like you to help us out by completing. We collect metrics on these. Who has been here? How did we do? We also have a sign up for the library email QR code and a QR code to follow us on Instagram, where we share various important things like hours, closures, announcements about classes, and popcorn Thursday. We also do strongly encourage you to reach out if you have any problems. This new interface is, as you can see, new to us as well. If you're experiencing anything strange or difficult or that doesn't seem like it's working right, that would be very helpful for us to know. Perhaps we can help you find a workaround. Perhaps we can report something, attempt to get something changed. Our systems librarian, Rebecca Bueller, was very helpful and adjusted, helped us get the options on the EBSCO master database page changed so that CINAHL is more prominent, for example. So sometimes things, don't just assume that something can't be changed because it's annoying. It might not be able to be changed, but we can at least find out if it's something that can be adjusted if there is something. But also we would like to know if you are having any trials or tribulations with the new tool so that we can assist. And I think that's it.